Hello everyone, thank you for coming for the third episode of Let's Talk About It. Today we're going to talk about the out-of-body experience. It's estimated that 1 in 20 people are going to have an out-of-body experience in their lifetime, and that at least 40% of humanity have lucid projections while sleeping. Not to mention those who have had out-of-body experiences in sleep paralysis, near-death experiences, even faints or medical health conditions. The fact is that out-of-body projections, out-of-body experience, is a natural phenomenon and a lot more common to happen than you might ever have ever imagined. So today, this is our topic, but let me introduce you to our team, right? Karina Eliasha is graduated in economy and psychology, speaker and teacher of Conscientiology. Karina has been working as a volunteer since 2007 and been with ASSIPI since 2013, working in the technical scientific area. Hello, Karina. Welcome to this episode.
Hello, Mario. Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here and discuss this topic with you.
Very nice, Karina. Cicero Schoenemann is our next host. Cicero works with business development and partnerships. He lives in Germany and has been studying, teaching, and researching Conscientiology since 1993 and has been volunteering at ASSIPI since December 2020. Welcome, Cicero.
Hello. Hi, everyone. So it's nice to be here and have the opportunity to talk about out-of-body experiences.
Very nice. And our special guest today is having his debut in the Let's Talk About This. Douglas Monteiro. Douglas is PhD candidate in microbiology at Federal University of Rio de Janeiro. He's been volunteering at ASSIPI since 2017, as a teacher since 2018, and also as a writer for the Encyclopedia of Conscientiology. He's currently coordinating the IT area at ASSIPI, especially working on the ASSIPI official website. Welcome, very welcome, Douglas.
Thank you for the invitation, and I'm very glad to be here today and discussing this topic with you all. Thank you.
Very good. Excellent, people. Okay, as usual, we can't start, right, without reminding you that it's important. We're not meant to advocate any absolutely truth in our debates, right? Everything that we talk about are, fruits of leading edge relative truth, as ideas, experiences, and experiments are in constant progress and change. So in Conscientiology, we have the principle of disbelief, which says, don't believe in anything, not even what we say here in our debate. Experiment, have your own personal experiences. Okay? Speaking of Conscientiology, we would like to introduce this neuroscience for those, spectators, viewers that are coming for the first time.
So, Conscientiology is the science that studies the consciousness as a whole, with all its bodies, existence, experience, times, and place of life, in an integral, projective, and self-conscious approach in relation to the various existent dimensions. So the consciousness is me, the consciousness is you. It is also all people in human life and all self-conscious beings of dimensions outside human life. So it's our topic today. We'll debate this as well. So the consciential paradigm is focused on bioenergies, on multidimensional and pluri-existential scopes, self-research, cosmoethics, universalism, and also the holosoma.
That's okay. And ASSIPI is a consensus-centric institution, right? Whose specialization is in this parapsychism. Is that right, Karina?
Yes, that's correct, Luna. I was going to... I'm sorry, I just got lost in my files here. I was going to read something about ASSIPI to make it easier for me, but I can say what we specialize in is, some people call parapsychism the sixth sense, other than the five senses, regular senses that we have in these physical dimensions. It's like we interact with other dimensions. So we specialize in this study. So it is a conscientiocentric institution, and it is specialized in the study, research, development, and also the practice and the use of parapsychism, aiming the mature use of self-parapsychism that is an indispensable attribute for the conscious evolution. And I already said what is parapsychism is the set of advanced paraperceptions of consciousness in addition to the 5 basic senses of the human body. So it's an inherent skill to every individual and can be rationally enhanced, free of any religious connotation, and also free of mystical initiations. And the lucid development of parapsychism enables an integral understanding of what is consciousness and also allows the experience of the consciousness paradigm proposed by Conscientiology.
That's right. And ASSIPI in English is part of work that is developed by ASSIPI as a whole, right? We are dealing with spreading out the word worldwide. Is that right, Cecil?
Yes, we have this ASSIPI in English project that seeks to promote the ideas, research, and leading edge relative truths of the science conscientiology worldwide. The project is focused on the study, research, and useful practice of parapsychism.
That's right. And then let's talk about the out-of-body experience, right? As I said in the beginning, it's very impressive, right? That 1 in 20 people are going to have an out-of-body experience in their lifetime. This is a kind of prediction. And 14% of people have lucid perception while sleeping. This is really impressive. But let's talk about this experience, okay? So the first thing is defining what is an out-of-body experience. Who would you like to start with this question?
I can start with, so the out-of-body experience is, first of all, I'd like to say that it's a physiological phenomenon, so it's inherited. We will experience it, if not in a lucid way, we will experience it anyway. But when we go to sleep, or when we lay down in our bed, and we our other vehicles of that our consciousness uses to manifest, they will start to separate from the physical body. So when they separate, our conscious can go from this physical body to this other vehicle that is less dense. So when this happens, when our consciousness is manifesting itself in another vehicle other than the physical body, we say that we are in a lucid projection. Who'd like to compliment and comment that?
That's right. That's right. And let's put it into practical terms.
Okay.
Karina, have you ever had an experience like that? Could you describe this to us?
Yes, I had, and I was thinking also of an example that used to happen with my grandmother, and she was very sensitive, and can I say she had mediumship abilities? She didn't study parapsychism at the time because she didn't know conscientiology, but she had many experiences, and so I used to trust her. She's dead now. She doesn't have the physical body anymore, but sometimes I can feel her presence, and she had very strong presence, and her energy, we used to feel very good around her. So I used to trust her very much. And when I had bad dreams and I was afraid, I woke up, I used to think about her very much during the night. Like, what would my grandmother do? I miss her. I wish I could talk to her right now. This one, when she was still alive in this physical dimension, and I wasn't familiar with conscientiology studies yet. And I have a cousin that she feels the same way. She also she studies parapsychism as well, and she used to trust my grandmother. And when I had these bad dreams, I used to think about her. And when I met her in the physical dimension, and I wanted to talk to her, like, my grandmother had bad dreams. What can I do? And she said to me, I know you had bad dreams. Oh, how do you know? Because when you do that, you come and you sleep in my bed. But how can I sleep in your bed? Not this body, the other body. So
wow.
It's very interesting. But I used to leave my body, like Douglas said, but the psychosoma, the spirit, the soul. And instead of sleeping near my body, I was going to sleep near my grandmother because I felt safe with her. And she knew that. She felt my presence with her, and she used to embrace me and send the best energies and saying mentally, everything is going to be okay. And it's a kind of a refuge. And then I learned the vibrational states and other conscientiology techniques when I met conscientiology, and I didn't have to do this anymore. I could have my bad dreams and sleep in my own bed. I don't need to run to my grandmother anymore. But it's very interesting what we do when our mechanisms. How can I say that? Mechanism. Yeah. Thank you. And it's very interesting that my grandmother had the same feeling. And when my cousin had bad dreams, she also did the same thing. We go to my grandmother's room because she has good energy when we trust her. Very interesting.
Yeah, that's very nice. Yeah, that was a very nice description of what out of body is. And the sensation of hovering above our body, so looking back down, and when we see ourselves sleeping, it's kind of a weird, isn't it? The first time I had it was really worrying, and then we learn to study, and then everything is okay because it's a natural phenomenon. Cicero, have you had this kind of experience of seeing yourself lying down in bed while hovering over your body?
Yeah, it's very interesting. As you mentioned, sometimes in the first experience, sometimes we pay more attention in many details, and this is new. So there was one experience that I had. I was just in the beginning of practicing techniques and things like this to be outside of body. I had before some experience, but like spontaneously, so it was not by my will, it would just happen. But then when I was trying, there was one day that I just lie down on the bed. I was not sleeping, I just relaxed in the bed. And then I perceive my body. First, I perceive a lot of energy, like a bubble of energy around my body. And then I perceived that my body was going up, so like floating, going up in the horizontal position, and then I start to be more in the vertical position, but I didn't finish it. So basically, I was more or less, I could perceive the room, so I was aware of where I was, the position in the room that I was, and then was a problem, and this could happen, I think, with more people. Maybe happen this, I get a little bit of emotion, to be excited to be outside of body. So I perceived that I was almost crossing the top part of my home, and then comes the emotion, and I jumped. It was suddenly come back to body, and then I have that sensation that sometimes we have also when I start sleeping. So this was very interesting because I could perceive clearly for the first time that I was really able to apply a technique, to try to do an experiment, and to have success. So this was, I could say, an important point, a division point in my extraphysical experiences. So this was a moment that I could be more aware. I can do it. So if I did one time, I can repeat it more times. So the techniques really have good results. So it's just to practice and try to have more experience. So this, I think it's very interesting to share how it happened with me, this, let's say, first experience in this kind of experience.
Excellent, Cicero. Some might be asking, from the viewers today, some might be asking, is it the same thing as astral projection? Douglas?
So since it is a phenomenon that is universal, we have lots of names to it.
Yeah,
so
sure.
yes, it is the same as an astral projection, an astral trip, out of body experience, lucid projection. They're all the same name for this specific phenomenon. But we like to use lucid projections because it is more of a scientific term. It is, I think it is more an accurate term to the phenomena.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you agree with me.
Yeah, sure. I think it's more widespread when we say out of body experience than astral projection. Actually, we have so many kinds of experiences, right? We cannot filter them or having then a specific term. I think it's more generical to say out of body experience. Definitely it is. So the thing is that oh yeah.
Just before you change the subject regarding this that Douglas said, I was thinking earlier today about the how we call it, many lines of knowledge call this in Brazil, traveling projections or astral traveling. And I prefer the out-of-body experience or lucid projections because traveling feels like we are just going for a ride and we learn, but we don't want to know ourselves better. And the lucid projection can be a very interesting tool to understand ourselves better. So we take it seriously. And sometimes when we just travel, we don't take this very seriously. But in the other hand, nowadays that we are locked in our houses due to the coronavirus pandemic, it's a very interesting tool to travel as well, because we cannot live, mainly we that live in Brazil, nowadays we cannot go anywhere. And it's a very interesting use of the traveling experience, the astral projections, to visit other places and other countries, and we don't spend money, and we can visit our relatives that live far away from us as well. That's I'm
very good. Yeah, sure.
I really think it was interesting that Karina mentioned this link of projections and lucid projections with knowledge, or many things that we can get in terms of knowledge when we are outside of the body. So I think it's very meaningful for us to have the perception that we are not our physical body. We are a multidimensional consciousness. So we have a physical body, but when we are in the extra physical dimension, that we could perceive this dimension, and many times there are we can meet other people, and this could be also people that already don't have a physical body anymore, so it's between one interphysical life and another, so they are in the extraphysical dimension directly. So, and many times these meetings have they have a meaning. So they are something that we extract from this experience. Many times we can make reflections. We can think about our life. We can make connections with what we did outside of the body and what's happening in my life here. So it could be multiple possibilities for us to make an exploration and discovery in new facts about our life and also our extra-physical life. So it's part of our life. It could be part of our life, also our extra-physical experience. So I think it's really one of the most rich phenomena or experiences that we can have can be related to out-of-body experience. We can have many variety of possibilities to having this type of experience. So it's really very nice in this way.
Yeah, that's very interesting for you to say, because the next thing I was going to mention here was exactly something similar to what you said. You just said something in advance, because I was going to question, once we see ourselves outside the physical body, right, and we realize that we don't live only in this physical body, that we have a consciousness that survives the physical body, the out of body experience is proof of life after death, isn't it? So
Yes,
it's a good
I
proof.
think it
It's a
is.
good proof.
If you
Okay.
have this this inner confidence of it, you acquire this inner confidence of it. It's not just theoretical anymore, and also you can change your values and maybe your perspectives into life, your paradigm, how you see things. So it's an excellent phenomenon. I think it's the best phenomenon to prove that and to change yourself in a quick and reliant way.
Very nice. And to see ourselves in a multidimensional reality, that we get aware of it. This is very important, because as in conscientiology, we study the consciousness in this whole field, or from different angles, not only the physical one, but extra physical angles as well. Our condition and reality outside the physical body is a multidimensional reality. And this is very interesting for us to talk now, is how far we can go in out of body experiences. Karina, how far we can go. We know that we can see ourselves, right, hovering above our physical body. Okay, that's fine. That's good to see and say, okay, I'm outside my physical body. But actually, as Sister said as well, it must have a kind of a meaning, for us to be through this kind of experience. And the best meaning is when we have to learn something out of body experiences, isn't it? When we go to other dimensions. What do you think about this idea?
Yes, I think it's a very interesting tool to know ourselves. And also, when you said how far can we go, we can go to other planets, other dimensions, but we can go out of space, for example. And I think there's lots of study. NASA used to use some parapsychics. People that have parapsychics, right?
Parapsychic, yes.
Yeah, to make these experiments, and they used to go before the spaceship. They leave the body and they go to the moon, they go to Mars, for instance, they go out of space and check what's going on there. And it's a very interesting tool to research as well. But we can go as far as we allow us to go, because fear is also how can I say, stops us from doing many things.
It's
and
a kind of
one
blockage.
them, yes, it's a blockage. And one of the things that fear stop us is the lucid projections, the LBE. And it's something we have to overcome. And how can we overcome this? By training and trying again and again. And sometimes we'll do just like Cicero said, we'll go up to the ceiling and then we come back, then we try again. And then we come back to the body with our heart racing, beating up. And then we have to calm ourselves again and work with our energy, try to take the drama out of it, because our society doesn't see this in a natural way. So that's why we are afraid. Most of the times we are afraid of things that we don't have knowledge about. So the more we study, the more we talk about it, the more we discuss, this is going to become a natural phenomena, so we can go as far as we want to go. But it's a process. It's not in 2 days now, okay, I overcome my fear of death, my fear of OBE. And we have fear of OBE because we are afraid of dying, because we don't know death. That's why we are studying OBE, to overcome the fear of death. And the more we get familiar with this, the better. And there are some sentences that I like very much. And one is, understand death, because you are going to get by this alive, so we don't die. So it's very interesting to train. The OBE is a kind of training. So when we die, we leave this dimension for once. So it's a very interesting tool as well.
Yeah, fear is something that we have to deal with and overcome it, right? Because once we overcome fear, we have more chances to spread out our extra-physical and parapsychic experiences. But I think there are two worries, basically speaking, about when you have an out-of-body experience. One is to see yourself outside of physical body, which, as you said, Karina, it gives you the idea of death, right? And it's a bit scary for some people. But the other one is the concern that actually, as we can go even outside the planet, should I come back to my physical body? How? Yeah, we can, because we have something attached, right? From the extra physical body, which is psychosoma. Then we have to remind you about the holosoma, right? Which is soma, the physical body, and egosoma. Here we go. And psychosoma and mental soma, right? So when we have this projection, we go with the psychosoma. Of course, we have interferences with our negosoma because we're still alive, and the connection with the physical body gives us the energy from the physical body. But essentially, we are projecting with the psychosoma. But how far you can go? But there is something attached with the silver cord, right? There is a silver cord attached from the psychosoma and the physical body. That's the reason why we don't die, isn't it, Cicero? Have you ever been afraid of get dead in the middle of out-of-body experiences? No.
Well, I really think I was not afraid. I could say in my case, because I think I first learned more things about out of body, and then I have my experience. I could say I was afraid one time, even knowing it, when I saw extra physical consciousness, and then even though it was not some bad person, but I just have a feeling of being afraid in that time. But the idea of coming back to the body, I think because I have that first experience that I just mentioned, I think in my case, it was not too much. For me, it's really more difficult to be outside of the body. Sometimes we just come back. We don't have intention to come back too early or to have a short experience. But sometimes there are like this connection that is the link between the extraphysical body and the physical body connected to the energies. And sometimes this just come in our there is a strong effect in us, so sometimes it's not so easy to keep more time during the extraphysical activities. Sometimes we can have for several minutes being outside of the body with lucidity, but sometimes in my case, of course this we can practice more, but in my case this happens a little bit more often, that I want to be a little bit more outside of the body, and sometimes I just feel myself again in the body. Oh, I need to come back again to the extraphysical.
Yeah, so it's a natural phenomenon. There is no chance for you to die in the middle of an experience like that, right? It's not the purpose of the thing. And you said something interesting that just reminded me of some people who have an out-of-body experience through near-death experience, right? That we talked about in our previous episode about near-death experience. And that's very interesting because most of the reports, right, from people who went through a near-death experience, that they don't want to come back. They don't want to come back. Now you have to come back. Should I? Oh, no, let me stay. Karina, have you heard of this? This is very common report from near-death experience, which is actually an out-of-body experience as well, right?
Yes, right. I think many people don't want to come back because they feel so good when they are in the other dimension, and also when they get in touch with the helpers. And it's a very good sensation that you just don't miss your body anymore and your relatives, because you know you're going to meet them again sometime. So we are all connected through energies. And I think this inner peace that the people that have these and the NDEs, they tell us about, and that's the reason why they don't want to come back. And most of them just come back because the helpers, they tell them, you have to come back and finish your mission or finish your purpose, or there are many things you didn't do, and you have to. It's an opportunity. If you don't have to, but it's a very good idea if you come back. At the end of the day, it's our choice if you want to come back or if you really want to disconnect from your physical body, because the physical body is also a tool for us to meet and interact with other people, and also to accomplish our existential program. So it's very important for us to be here, to be alive in this dimension. And also it's important to detach the body when it's time to go. But usually the NDEs, it's a kind of accident. It's not a program. No, we should get this information from OBs. It's better if we apply the techniques and we get rid of the physical body to interact with helpers and access some information in the astral or in the extra physical dimension is better. But sometimes some people need these NDEs in order to have an impact, to make some substantial changes in life. I think this is my opinion.
Yeah. All right. We talked about near-death experience, but another thing that maybe the viewers would be more released with is the sleep paralysis, right? It's very common phenomenon, but it's also proof of an out-of-body experiences. Douglas, have you ever had a sleep paralysis?
I never had one, but as a teacher in Conscientiology, I'm used to hear people talking about their own experience. They usually say that they are afraid because they usually don't know what is happening. So we used to communicate them what is this phenomenon, what is the cause of this phenomenon, and that they could use this state to facilitate the experience, the out-of-body experience. So they could use this state where the psychosoma is almost releasing itself from the physical body to actually launch themselves into launch the psychosoma out of the physical body. So that's usually what I say. And that fear, as people are commenting, are saying in the comments that there are a lot of fear involved in the first experiences. And I think that knowledge, studying and talking about this kind of phenomenon is a great way to. It won't overcome your fear. It won't make your fears disappear, but you be more prepared to face it, to face this experience. So, would you like to compliment something?
No, that's right. We have some questions. Yeah, we have some questions in the foothold, but I would like let's just start with the question here that came. When a person has lucid projections, but always return immediately to the body, getting scared that something bad can happen to them, what can this person do to overcome this?
Okay, can I start?
Sure, go ahead.
I think Cicero already talked to us something about this, but I think we should study. It's a way to begin to interact with these experiences, because when we are afraid, it's because we don't have enough knowledge of something. This is my opinion. And the more we are outside the body, we have to tell ourselves, it's okay, it's just another dimension, nothing bad is going to happen to us. It's like we do in the physical world. When we leave our house and sometimes we begin to be afraid out of the blue. It's like, oh, somebody's going to attack me. Okay, relax. It's it's your imagination. Nothing bad is going to happen. It's okay. When it's not real, because sometimes it's real, so we have to stay home. That is also, we have to have good sense. But when we are outside of the body and maybe we have interaction with other people that are not well intent, we have to work with energy and send our best energy to the environment, to the other people, and the things are going to calm down and our fear are going to disappear within time. So we are going to connect with helpers. Sometimes even the helpers, they come to help us and help with our emotions. And mainly when we have to do assistential work to help other people and we are scared, so the helpers sometimes they put us to sleep just to use our energy outside of the body because the emotions get in the way. So it's like the intraphysical. I think the more we manage to control our emotions within the body in this dimension, the better we will be in the outside of the body experiences, because we are what we are. It doesn't matter in which dimension. The extra physical dimension is just like we have a clear view of our emotions. It's more exacerbated. It's like a lens that expand our view. It's something like that. I don't know. I have the instrument here, Mario. It's like this. So we see this clearer. I don't know how to say this in English, but it's like we are seeing
magnifying lens.
Yes, that's the astral projections. Like I'm seeing myself a lot clearer
through a magnifying lens.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. That's right. The next question has to do with something that Cicero mentioned
Mario,
in his experience. Okay, go ahead.
Mario, could I just add something in that question before, so related to be scared? So
Sure.
I think also sometimes can be related to previous experience that somebody has, even unconsciousness, could meet some extraphysical consciousness that they make jokes with us. So immature consciousness, and sometimes like they are like monsters or other things, but just run against us, and the natural reaction usually is to run and to not be more aware of really what's happening. So sometimes then automatically the person connect to being outside of the body to have this type of experience. And then sometimes also it's like a defense mechanism to try to come back to the body and not keep too much outside of the body. There are several possible reasons. I just mentioned one possibility. And what Karina just mentioned, to keep the emotional stability, is very, very interesting. And also the possibility for us to move our energies, to have a little bit of domain of our energies, to learn about the vibrational states. So how we can mobilize our energies to have also in our energetic body a balance. So this usually has repercussions in our emotional body, and sometimes this gives more confidence for the person. So this can be trained also in the intraphysical. So more and more we practice this type of techniques to being more lucid about how we can mobilize our own energies. Usually this brings to us a lot of more confidence in many situations, including this of extra-physical body, so when we are out of body. So I think these are things that could be considered also to have more lucidity and to be more aware of the extra-physical dimensions with no fear. I think this is some comments also related.
Very, very well said. We have got two questions here, but I think that they have already been answered. One is how to better control the emotions while having the experience, so we can avoid getting back to the body so fast. So I think that it has been answered, right? How to control the emotions. Karina has said something about it, right?
Yes, I think we already answered that question. Yes, thanks.
Yeah.
I just want to thank my friend for sending this question.
Yes, Luis Henrique, thanks for coming today, Luis. Yeah. All right. And the other question is there an interessential objective related to this technique? That was something that Karina also said. It's a question from Leila Gatti. That's something that Karina was mentioned as well, that the interessential meaning, right, of an out-of-body experience is the best one, right? To have to make the most of this phenomena, right?
Yes, Mario, and it's also a technique. I think this Leila's question is very good, because we can also use this as a technique to overcome fear, because we take out the focus of ourselves, and the focus is I'm helping other people. So sometimes I'm afraid to do things for myself, but when I think about the others, I have to overcome my fears and help these people that I also care about, and other people that I don't even know, because when I have the intention of helping, the helpers, they get closer and I start feeling more confident. So it's a very good technique to put the others ahead of us sometimes. If we can, most of the time, to have this altruistic sense of, I don't know, feeling. I don't know.
That's right. The next question we have talked about. Okay.
Also, this, Mario, sometimes I think it's quite common that when we are outside of the body, we can do some types of assistance in a different way. So we can help others in a different way than when we are inside of the body. And this happen that many times helpers or extra-physical consciousness that are interested to help others, they help ourselves to be outside of the body, sometimes to get more lucidity outside of the body, to do assistential works. So I could say can be a directly relationship between the lucidity of the projections and the development of the projections and the intention we have to make the intention, lucidity, awareness for us to help others when we are outside of the body. Not only do a astral traveling, how
Yes.
we mentioned before, but to have a purpose on it. And if we have the predisposition, the idea, basically that we have the sensation, the inner sensation that we can be helpful, and this is part of our nature, this can improve our experiences outside of the body.
Yeah, sure. And we have to highlight that the phenomena or the phenomenon by the phenomenon doesn't mean much, so it's just, okay, I saw myself outside my body, all right, but what's the meaning of that, or what's the purpose of it? This is the most important question we should ask when we have a parapsychic phenomenon, is not the phenomenon itself, but the meaning and the interpretation of the phenomenon, especially when we have this and as a learning for ourselves, or as a learning in an interessential task, right? Which is the most important thing. We have one more thing here written from the viewers, which is, many people are concerned about the risk of having someone else using their physical bodies while they are experiencing an OBE. Could you please comment a bit about that, Douglas?
Yes, I actually heard this fear. One person commenting about this fear before. I will say again what I said before, that knowledge it won't overcome your fears, but will help you face it. So studying about projections, discussing it with other people that experience it in a regular way, uh, learning, watching, for example, this let's talk about will this knowledge will help you face this phenomenon. Will help you face this fear when it happens, and it was never related that someone used another person's body while this person was in a lucid projection. So I don't think that it is possible to do that. We have this silver cord, as Mario Luna said, that keep us attached to our physical body. So the only way that this connection, if this connection actually breaks, we will lose, our physical body will die. So it only happens when we are ready to go. So I don't think that it is possible for another person to control your body while you are lucid projection.
Okay, Cesar said
Mario,
something that is okay. Go ahead, Candice.
I just want to compliment what Douglas
All right.
said, that about knowledge, very interesting, and also that he's a PhD candidate, so science is very important. I think this question that Luis sent us is like urban legend. It's a fantasy. It doesn't happen like that, and people start creating these fake news, and it generates a whole fear. And when we have our experiences and the debates, we can overcome these legends. It's not real. It doesn't happen like this. It's an impossibility to other people. When you are having an OBE, to other people approach your body, and you cannot come back anymore because there's another person inhabiting your body, another soul. This is fantasy. It's not real. This is my opinion.
Yeah, this
and
is
also
what we usually see.
my experience, based on my knowledge and my readings and my and my experiences. Yeah,
it sounds like what we see in the films, right? When this fictional films that my body was possessed by someone else, I'm outside of it, then I cannot come back because there is someone else there. So this is totally nonsense. All right, Cesar, would like to add something?
No, that's fine. Just that, yes, possession, it is a phenomenon. It can happen. There is the possibility of having a possession, but not that you cannot come back to your body. So
yeah,
this can happen temporarily, but if you really want to come back to the body is yours. It's not from other extraphysical. So this is, it can happen, but only temporarily. And usually you can also be more aware of this if you want or not, if you're allowed or not. So basically your will needs to be more important of other consciousness to yourself.
Sure. As we say, right, and reinforce the idea in every episode, especially for those first timers, that conscientiology studies the consciousness in a whole and integral view and perspective, not only from the physical, intraphysical environment, but also extra-physical environment. So, and I'm just repeating this, right, because I'm like to say something that's very important in the case of out-of-body experience, which is the learning we can have outside of body, when we know about ourselves in this multidimensional reality. So I would like just to raise one more topic. Yeah, but just remind us that we have 10 minutes left. It's too fast. All right. And the importance of out-of-body experience for our self-learning, of our self-research. So let's talk about, the whole of you approaching this topic, because I think it's the most important thing, how to make the most of your out-of-body experience. Karina.
Yes, I want to raise some points about this. For instance, this night, I remember gathering with some people that study Conscientiology, and we were discussing about a course we are going to make with other institutions, not only ASSIPI. And I just remember the other person saying, "Oh, Karina, that's a very good idea. Let's debate this topic." But I don't remember the topic at all. And I was trying to remember. And that's something that we miss opportunities. And sometimes we have very good insights when we are out of the body about other subjects that we want to discuss, and sometimes even about ourselves, the way we manifest. Why are we so afraid of out of the body experience, afraid of our neighbor, afraid of our father? Doesn't matter, but it's a very good way to get more information about ourselves. But sometimes we just can't remember. It's another thing I wanted to discuss, the importance of trying to remember the experience that we have. And today I was trying for very long minutes, and I was writing down the information. I couldn't make the download. So I think I lost it. I have to try again.
Yeah, it happens. It may happen.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
So, Mario, can I start? I
Sure.
think that sometimes things are neat in the intraphysical dimension for us, but when you experience out of the body experience, when you experience things out of the body, sometimes the truth is thrown at us. So the things that we think that we are handling well, they are actually not. Things that we thought we had changed about our personality or our habits, we are actually just experiencing it out of the body because we're still connected to that problem. So I use out of body experience in that manner to see if I am handling well the changes that I want to do. So that's something that I do, and I wanted to share with you.
Great.
I was thinking exactly this in a way that we can perceive many times that when we are outside of the body in some experiences, that we are more than we are here in the interphysical dimension. So we have more abilities, we have more lucidity, we can think different with more harmony sometimes, thinking with more fraternity, universalism. So there is a lot of values that sometimes we have as a value here, but to put in practice can be a little bit more difficult. And our reality when we are in the astrophysical, in some experience, it brings to us the idea that we are more than we are here. So we have a limitation of the physical body to manifest exactly our entire consciousness. So this is interesting, and I think as soon as we have more experiences, we start to bring a little bit this type of knowledge of ourselves and manifest in a more with more wisdom, let's say like this, okay, in giving limits to it, okay, but
Yeah,
in
sure.
this direction.
Very nice, people. Unfortunately, we are approaching the end of the episodes today. I would like just to suggest you that if you want to know more about out-of-body experiences and all the techniques and all the implications and consequences and fits and features, I suggest you to read the treatise Projectiology by Valdo Vieira, right? He started the Conscientiology, was the one who proposed the ideas of Conscientiology and Projectiology. But yeah, it's thick, so you have a long way to read it. But it's a fantastic companion, right? Companion of ideas from Projectiology, which is part of Conscientiology. I suggest you read this treatise. It's available at Editaris in a digital version, right? So we can have Projectiology in English as a digital version. Here we go. We get the link for you to go there and just pick one for you. Nice reading about out-of-body experiences. And then,
There is,
Projections of the Consciousness. This is another
yeah,
book that we have available in English as well. I think that you also have this as free in a digital format. I
I'm not
think
sure.
so.
I think this book is not by free, but you can find, I think, in Amazon to buy in
Okay, yeah,
English. So
right.
I think it's you can search and find this book. This is a book also of a diary of experience outside of the body. So it's very interesting also to read it.
Great, great. Okay, let's artifact some activities and courses we are just about to have in ASSIPI and NSCC. Okay, could you please just put the dynamics of the first course, dynamics of intraconsciential recycling by the instructor Matthew Alves, right? The course will take place on Saturday, April 3rd from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Okay, the price is actually 90 reais. It's not updated, it's 90 reais. And it will have simultaneous interpretation in English, right? And can you apply for this course in our assipi.org/loja. Okay, so that will be a very interesting course to talk about the dynamics of intraconsciential recycling. Access VRPONs, right? The new ideas, the leading edge relative truth, hollow memory, new ideas and expansion of self-discernment, Phosinic re-education, qualifications of consciential traits, evolutional strategy, and techniques to promote the intraconsciential recycling. This course is fantastic. It's all about change, right? The change we have to develop in our behavior, and it's absolutely important to know how to do it in a very efficient way. So Marta will tell us how. The next event is the speech by Mario Oliveira, Professor Mario Oliveira, writes about near-death experience, the topic that we talked in our previous episode of Let's Talk About It, and we mentioned also today. Mario Oliveira will be approaching this topic in this speech, taking place in April 11, right, from 2:30 to 5:30 p.m. Okay, and the next Let's Talk About will take place on April 25th, right? Here in the same channel, we'll be talking about clairvoyance. So now it's time to say goodbye. See you next episode. Karina, Cicero, Douglas, thank you very much. Thank you very much for the people behind the screen monitoring the episode today, which is of exceptional help, right? So we'd like to say a final goodbye, people.
Goodbye
Okay.
to everyone, and thank you for
Goodbye.
having me here today.
Bye-bye, people. Thank you for coming.
Bye.